Good morning, everyone. So we are starting a new unit today, drugs and pharmaceutical industries. And today we will see introduction about drugs and pharmaceuticals, and classification of drugs. So we will see a little background, historic background, and what is the status of Indian pharmaceutical industries. And then we will move to the classification of drugs, most commonly used drugs. So we will start with background and significance of pharmaceutical industry. So this industry combines synthetic, organic, chemical technology and fermentation technology into one of the most powerful tools that modern science possesses, and it has greatly influenced the world around us. So combination of these two have worked wonders, and we have generated or synthesized upon treatments of diseases or any conditions which were said to be impossible in the past. Most recent example would be the current pandemic situation, and the way pharmaceutical and drug industry have been making strides towards success in overcoming that. Perhaps equally important as the discovery of the potential of nuclear fission. So they are drawing a comparison how important it is, and in current times it has proved its worth, no doubt. So we all know what is the importance of pharmaceutical industry. So it is a broad application of drugs and pharmaceuticals to the elevation of diseases and corresponding extension of men's lifespan. Over the current century, even the average lifespan of human beings has increased, and some credit definitely goes to this pharmaceutical industries. History and growth of the industry in India. So it has made greatest strides very recently, rightly said. Even now, this book, even if we don't consider this pandemic, even after that, they have made greatest strides. But this is the most recent example we can see before our eyes. Before 1900s, most medicines were produced from natural products of animals, mineral or vegetable origin, such as quinine from cinchona bark, which is used in treatment of malaria. One of the first synthetic pharmaceutical product was chloroform. It is used as an anesthetic. It was made in about 1850. Aspirin was first manufactured in 1899. In early 1900, anesthetics such as Novocaine were known. Mercurial compounds were used as antiseptics. 1920s saw the discovery of insulin as an anti-diabetic drug, which was again revolutionary. Then 1930s saw the development of sulfur drugs and vitamins and penicillin. Penicillin has also revolutionized the drug industry. Then real surge of the new products came after World War II, and with advent of various vaccines, steroid hormones, tranquilizer drugs, and broad-spectrum antibiotics. Today, research is directed at drugs to cure arthritis, cancer, heart conditions, high blood pressure, that is hypertension, hepatitis, and various mental and emotional diseases. And this is the demand projection. In the year 1984-95, estimated production in India was about of 2,204 crore rupees, and we can see how it has increased. Just if we see in the span of 15 years, calculating from 1984 to 1999, it has reached from 2,000 crores to 15,000 crores. So it is a huge leap. Next is the top 5 companies, leading pharmaceutical companies in India in the terms of sales. So first is Glaxo, which is GSK as we commonly know. Then second is Ranbaxy. Third is Cadila. fourth Alembic, fifth is Cipla. So these are the 5, and their sales in crore are almost near 100 crores. This are the data of 1995-94 journals. So now they would have definitely increased to a large extent. Apart from these 5, some good Indian industries now include Zydus. Zydus Cadila is same now. Lupin is an example. Then Pfizer is also establishing in India now. Lupin is the nearest one we would know, Ankleshwar Lupin Pharmaceuticals. So this is the trend in Indian industries. Now next we will see classification of the most commonly used drug and how could they be classified. So classification can be done by mainly 2 types: pharmacological classification and therapeutic classification. Chemical classification is also possible depending upon, but pharmacological would more or less include same things. So yes, so pharmacological classification is classifies the drugs with similar characteristics and similar chemical makeup. That means chemicals used. Therapeutic classification will include same kind of effect. The drugs that give the same kind of effect, same kind of cure, may not have similar makeup, but their work will be same. So antibiotics, all antibiotics are different, but their purpose is to limit the bacterial growth. So they can be classified as therapeutically same. Examples of pharmacological classification are penicillins and beta blockers. Allopathic drugs. All these synthesized drugs are termed as allopathic. So this term refers to the principle of curing a disease by administering the substances that produce the opposite effect of the disease when given to a healthy human. And they can be further classified as non-prescriptive drugs and prescriptive. Non-prescriptive are over-the-counter drugs, also known as OTC. Non-prescription drugs are the drugs which can be purchased, we can purchase it without prescription of any health professional, any doctor. And other are prescriptive drugs which are only available on producing the prescription from a doctor. Like sleeping pills are prescriptive drugs. You cannot obtain sleeping pills easily without the prescription. So normal painkillers, normal antibiotics, vitamins, all these are OTC drugs. You can purchase without the prescription. Now further classification according to their effects. So these are the names: anti-hemorrhoid, antibiotic, cough suppressant, anti-acne, non-steroidal, antiseptic, analgesic. All these are drugs. We will see one by one what work they do. So starting with the anti-hemorrhoid, they are medicines that reduce the swelling and relieve the discomfort of hemorrhoids. As per their name, are available as creams, ointments, and suppositories. Most can be bought without a physician's prescription, so it is an over-the-counter drug, non-prescriptive drug, used for relieving swelling and discomfort. Topical antibiotics. They are medicines applied to skin to kill bacteria or to limit the growth of bacteria. Whenever we have an open wound, we can topical antibiotics and medicines applied to the skin to kill bacteria. They help in preventing infections caused by bacteria that get into minor cuts, scrapes, or burns. They are used in open wounds and then also for common cold and flu type problems. Treating minor wounds with antibiotics allows quicker healing. And if wounds are left untreated, bacteria will multiply, it will grow, causing pain, redness, swelling, itching, and oozing. Next, Cough suppressants, they are medicines to prevent or stop coughing as it is a cough suppressant and acts on the center in the brain that controls the cough reflex. So they are meant to be used only to relieve dry, hacking coughs associated with colds and flu. They should not be used to treat coughs that bring up mucus or chronic coughs associated with smoking, asthma, other emphysema or other lung problems. This is used for dry coughing. They should be used for dry coughs. Anti-acne drugs, again the purpose is there in the name, anti-acne, so it prevents acne on the skin, that help clear up pimples, blackheads, whiteheads and more severe forms of acne. Different types of anti-acne drugs are used for different purposes. For example, lotions would sell in a lot of forms. Anti-acne drugs are used. Non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drug. So these are drugs that relieve pain, swelling, stiffness and inflammation. So they can be used where you have inflammation in your body, and during arthritis you can use, yes, including arthritis, bursitis, tendinitis, gout, sprains, strains and other injuries. And these are also pain relief, painkiller type. We can use it as painkillers, for stiffness, swelling and inflammation, but they do not cure the disease or injury responsible for the problem. They just help ease the pain, we can say. Antiseptics are medicines that slow or stop the growth of germs on the any cut or wound we have, minor cuts, scrapes and burns. Yes, they stop that wound from infecting that body part further. These are applied directly to the skin to kill bacteria from getting into wounds and causing infection. Although antiseptics do not usually kill bacteria, they do weaken them and slow their growth. They clean the wound area and stop it from moving ahead and spreading ahead. Simply applying an antiseptic to a wound is not adequate treatment. Wound should be cleaned first, and in most cases it should be covered with bandage or other type of dressing to keep it clean and moist while it heals. However, some antiseptics such as phenol can damage the skin if the wound is covered after they are applied. So not all antiseptics are to be covered after using. Analgesics, they are medicines to relieve painkillers mostly. They are prescribed to relieve pain of all sorts, headache, backache, joint pain, sore muscle and pain that results from surgery, injury or illness as well. Most common is aspirin, choline salicylate, magnesium salicylate, sodium salicylate compounds. Ibuprofen is the most common example of this. Naproxen, sodium and ketoprofen are all general category known as non-steroidal anti-inflammatory. Other common analgesics are acetaminophen, provides pain relief but does not reduce inflammation. Salicylates are medicines that relieve pain and reduce the fever. Aspirin belong to group sodium salicylate, magnesium and calcium, choline salicylates. It is also aspirin is also known as acetyl salicylic acid. Accelerators next are medicines that act directly on the muscles and blood vessels. They are used for blood pressure, hypertension related problems as well. By widening the arteries, these drugs allow blood to flow more easily, reducing the blood pressure. Antacids are used for neutralizing the stomach acid, so mainly in acidity, used to relieve acid indigestion, upset stomach, sour stomach or heartburn. They are taken by mouth, and also they are taken orally and work by neutralizing the excess stomach acid. These are the chemical components: aluminum hydroxide, calcium carbonate, etc. are different combinations work for antacids. Expectorants are drugs that loosen and clear mucus and phlegm from respiratory tract, so for cold-related problems. Some products contain guaifenesin are available only in a physician's prescription. Others can be bought without prescription. They come in several forms, including capsules, tablets, and liquids and syrup forms. Antifungal drugs, also again, as the name suggests, it prevents fungus and fungal infection. Many fungi are harmless. Some cause minor and irritating infection, while a few can cause much more severe infections. Again, most common mucormycosis, we can say it is a fungal infection, the black fungus that we are facing nowadays. People with compromised immune systems, such as AIDS and cancer patients, may be more susceptible to fungal infections than others. Even diabetic patients are more susceptible. Antifungal drugs are used to treat fungal infections. Antihistamines next are drugs that block the action of histamine at H1 receptor sites. So allergy related problems responsible for immediate hypersensitivity to some action or some substance. By inhibiting the activity of histamine, they can reduce capillary fragility, which produces the erythema or redness associated with that allergic reaction. So anti-allergy drugs basically. Then anti-gas agents are medicines that relieve the uncomfortable symptoms of too much gas in the stomach and intestines. Relieve the symptoms by preventing the formation of gas pockets and breaking out gas that already is trapped in the stomach. Anti-gas agents are sold as capsules, liquids, and tablets and can be bought without physician's prescription, so it can be bought over the counter. Last is smoking cessation drugs that help people smoking cigarettes and even other forms of tobacco. Nicotine is an example of, Nicotex is an example of smoking cessation drug. People who are addicted to smoking, so this type of things are available for them to help them quit this smoking. So most smoking cessation products contain nicotine, but in small steady doses spread over many hours, so it doesn't harm as bad as smoking. Drugs that contain nicotine are called nicotine substitution products or replacement therapy. These come in 4 forms: chewing gum, skin patch, nasal spray, and inhaler. Another type is bupropion, also reduces craving and withdrawal symptoms, but it contains no nicotine. So this was the classification of drug and some information about the Indian drugs and pharmaceutical industries.